Hey everybody, Karaoke here. In this video, we're going to talk about how to get into the LFG to find people to do dungeons with. You want to go to the icon up in the toolbar, or by default press Y. That'll bring up the Contacts and LFG panel. The second icon down on the left is LFG, and you'll see a dungeon section with all of the different dungeons. There are 8 dungeons in all, and each dungeon has multiple paths. A story mode, which is meant to tell you the story mostly of Destiny's Edge, and explorable modes, which give you an additional opportunity to go through the dungeon and see what's going on. Note that when you join a group in LFG, it puts you into the group but does not put you into the dungeon, so you'll have to move yourself to the appropriate zone. If somebody in your party is already in the dungeon, you'll get a pop-up and you can join. If you don't see that pop-up, you might have to waypoint or something, or you might be in the wrong zone. Now, when it comes to doing dungeons, there's some basic rules that'll really help everybody out. First off, make sure to read the post. Read all of the post. Mouse over it and you can see the full text. And if you read that post and don't meet any of the requirements, don't join that group. Note here that EXP is experienced, not explorable. So if you see a post and it says it wants people who are EXP, or if it just says, P1 EXP, if you don't know that path well, then you shouldn't join. Now, if you see a post and you're not quite sure whether you meet the requirements or whether they want something that you're not doing, just ask. Feel free to go ahead and ask. In the example in the background, I joined a group and I said that I was new. Obviously, I wasn't, but I was like, hey, I'm new. Is it okay? And they were like, yeah, sure, whatever. So you'll find that quite a bit when you are running dungeons. Now, if none of the parties listed in LFG seem to be the right fit for you, either because they're not doing dungeons the way you'd like to or because you don't meet the requirements, just make your own post. It's pretty easy, and you'll find that almost all the time, your group will fill up quickly with people who want to do the dungeon the way that you want to. Instead of forcing yourself to join somebody else's group that you don't really think is a good fit, make your own and you'll have a much better time. Now, even if you're joining a group and they aren't asking for somebody who's experienced, I think it's polite to tell people if you don't know the path. Most of the time, you can run around and just follow people and do what they do, and it's fine. But there are cases where the dungeon paths require you to do something different from other people, and so if people know that in advance, they can tell you what to do. There are chances that you'll get kicked from the group or they won't want you to run with them, but that's okay. In the end, you're going to have a better experience if you're not halfway through the path and people start to get mad because you don't know what you're doing and you never said anything. Dungeons are a great way to find friends and guilds as well, so if you run with people who are fun, friends list them, and if there's a group of them who are all in the same guild, feel free to ask them if you can join their guild. Guilds like mine will often use dungeons as a way to find fun people we think might fit with us, and we'll often extend invites or at least point people to our website if we think that they're pretty cool. That's it for today, guys. Later this week, we're going to talk more about story mode dungeons, why you should join a guild to do dungeons, and then we'll talk a little bit about dungeon etiquette and the things I think you should do when you're running dungeons. As always, let me know if you have questions in the comments.